Hello, hello, hello. It's Dr. Dawn. Hi, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. It's Mystical Monday. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hey, 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 it's Dr. Dawn, and welcome to Mystical Monday. I am your host. I am your host. And for those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Dr. Dawn, and I am an intuitive guide and spiritual messenger. On Monday nights, I act as the go-between between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. And so in my one-on-one sessions, when I see my clients privately, I assist with spiritual coaching and directing them and assisting them with meeting and interacting with their spirit teams. If you are interested in learning more about me, you can visit my website at www.discoveringyourinnerlight.com. For those of you who are here for the first time, this is Mystical Monday Live, and we talk about topics related to mysticality. I made that word up. I think that's a word. We talk about all things mystical. And so tonight we're going to not just be talking about all things mystical, we are going to be adding in some other concepts because people very often, there's a lot of confusion in the spiritual community as it relates to being mystical, being spiritual, being quantum, and what do these things mean and how do they overlap or not overlap? How are they related or how are they different? And then people want to figure out where they kind of fall in as it relates to these titles, okay? So we're going to be exploring that tonight. You guys, we have a live chat. I see there are a couple of you in here now, and in the live chat during this program, you are like encouraged to like give input, give comments, ask questions, because we love to chat, right? So I am just now newly monetized by YouTube. Yay! I have finally gotten enough stickers to where I could have super chats and I can have super stickers that people can give me. So you'll see that little icon in the bottom, somewhere at the bottom, it'll be a $sign. And so I haven't used it yet. So if anybody feels like they want to use this tonight, please use it so I can see how it works. Just because I'm just curious. So because I'm new to this YouTube thing. So tonight I want you guys to like feel free, feel open, feel comfortable to share your input, your questions, your feedback, because I want to make sure that we are covering everything and that we are getting some clarity for everyone. Okay. All right, so let me get my chat up and connected so I can be ready for you guys. And then we will get started. Hold on a second. Let me get into my chat. Live. All right, I got 5 of you in the chat. Everybody let me know that you can hear me okay. Please, everybody, somebody tell me whether or not you can hear me okay, because I won't know until I get going, and then by then I will have to stop and regroup. So can anybody let me know if you can hear me clearly in the chat, if everything is okay? Let's see. Okay, I'm going to assume you guys can hear me because you didn't say you. Okay, you said you can hear me fine. Thank you. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so let's get moving. All right, so I recently, today, I mentioned on my social media platforms, I put a post and I said, you know what? I'm a mystic and I'm proud of it. And I'm like, yes, because it took me a long time to get to this point to where I felt comfortable using the term mystic, because when I was on my spiritual awakening journey and I came across the word mystic, it was synonymous with the occult, right? With being demonic, with being like not a believer, because of my Christian background. And so it scared me. I didn't want to use that word. I distanced myself from it, but it kept coming up over and over and over in my journey. And so because I grew up Christian, I was on my journey, I was reading and it said, Jesus was a mystic. So I said, well, wait a minute, hold on. If he was a mystic, it must not be too bad. So I went a little deeper and I realized that in Christianity, that is the part that is not emphasized, the mysticality of Christianity, if you will, because you know why? This is my personal opinion, because it is the connection to your power and your divine essence of who you are. And if you tap into it and you get connected to it, other human doctrines and perspectives don't mean the same anymore. So let's define mystic, if you will, okay? A mystic is a person who believes in those things that are beyond intellect, those things that you can't see, but exist. And so I believe in that 100% because I've not only read about it, I've experienced it, I've felt it, I live by it, I use it in my day-to-day practice as a intuitive guide and spiritual messenger. I'm talking to the spiritual realm. I'm talking to spiritual guides, spirit guides. I can't see them, but I know that they're there and I'm comfortable that they're there and they're of the divine light. So a mystic fits me true, not only in this lifetime, but in my previous lifetimes. In my previous lifetimes, I've been a prophet, I've been an oracle, I've been a seer, like all people who tap in, a psychic, I've been all of that. All beings that tap into the spiritual realm and deliver divine information, okay? So look, let's talk about a spiritual person because that's the big umbrella, right? That everything usually falls under. And so when we talk about a spiritual person, we talk about a person who it's relating to the human spirit or the soul, right? That's the big thing about being a spiritual person. We're into the soul and not so much the material and physical essence of this reality, okay? We're into the soul and the spirit connection. So a spiritual person tends to lean into more of the soul's purpose, okay? And then let's talk about a quantum person, okay? We usually know them in the way of quantum healers or quantum physics or just quantum in general. You got to look at that word quantum. It used to scare the heck out of me because when you think quantum, I always think physics because that's the terminology I knew it in, the kind of relationship I knew it from, like high school physics and numbers and equations and just stuff that didn't connect with me, still kind of doesn't in that perspective. But when we talk about quantum healing now, we talk about people who are guided to a deeper state of consciousness that relates to frequency and energy, right? Shifting energy and frequency to support healing and to support manifesting and to support being mindful, right? So we got three things that are pretty popular right now in this ascension or evolutionary realm of being that we're being in our awakening process. And so a lot of people are feeling as if, you got to be one or the other, or, which one is the better one to be. There is no better, and there is no correct or incorrect way to do this spiritual thing. You are what resonates with you. Okay. And so I want you guys to realize, hold on, you guys, I'm going to turn speaker on. My microphone back on because I think it's off. Okay, there it is. You are what resonates with you. I know my soul's journey. I know my past life as it relates to being a prophet, a seer, a oracle. Like I know that that's what I've done. And I know that that's what I'm doing in this life. So it's no different from me. When you tap into some of your past life experiences, it really gets good in terms of which area resonates more with you, okay? So let's get into being a mystic because this is who Dr. Dawn is through and through. When you think mystic, You think Dr. Dawn, because when I tell you some of the characteristics of a mystic, if you've had a one-on-one session with me, you're gonna go, okay, yeah, that's her. That's who she is. Hold on, you guys, I gotta get my chat back up displayed. I can't see my chat. Okay. All right. Okay, so when you talk about a mystic, let's get into some characteristics of a mystic. A mystic usually steers clear of doctrines and principles. We don't do well with that. That's why religion kind of doesn't resonate with us, because we don't feel as if you can tell us steps on how to do something, or there is no one way to carry out something. So a mystic usually doesn't lean towards a doctrine, as you would see in religion. A mystic usually has a higher level of trust in their inner self and their inner guidance system. They achieve like all of their answers through their experiences. That's me. I will tell you in a minute. I'm sharing you information based on my experience and my experience only. I am not sharing something with you from a book. I am not sharing something with you that I've heard. I'm sharing with you my experiences. That is the core of a mystic, okay? Next, a mystic will question the existence. Okay, they have a natural curiosity about, why am I here? Why are we all here? Like, what's the difference between the physical and spiritual world? How do you tap into it? A mystic wants to explore that because they know it's more to this world than this physical plane. And they want to go out and experiment and play in it. And they're not afraid of it. Okay. Next, a mystic is comfortable with being uncertain. A mystic understands that there's no plan behind every action in the universe. There is not always a quantum, I shouldn't say quantum, there isn't always a calculated formula on each and every action. We believe, a mystic believes that you have to trust every action and the purpose of it, and know that the universe is guiding and in control. Mystics understand and trust themselves because they trust the universe. They trust that the universe is always working for our good. So a mystic will lean into that. They don't need a calculation. They don't need a formula. They don't need a theory. They don't need any of that. They just need to have the experience, okay? Number 4, let's get to the 4th thing, characteristic of a mystic. A mystic values intuition. Come on now, y'all. That's the core of who Dr. Dawn is, baby. If you don't know anything about me, you know that I am an intuitive guide. I lean on my intuition. It's what I do. And so a mystic will rely on knowledge, language, and physical senses like everybody else, but their intuitive perception offers deeper insight. So let's get into that. So everybody has the ability to see clairvoyantly, to hear clairaudiently, to receive information out of nowhere claircognizantly, to feel in their gut clairsentiently. And so a mystic will do all of that. But guess what? They'll take all that, then lean into their intuition more, that insight that they have. And so they got that extra little oomph that, in addition to their clair abilities of all those activated areas I just told you about, they have a keen, heightened sense of intuitiveness that they can lean into, okay? All right, let's keep going with a mystic. A mystic is not uncomfortable with spiritual like hierarchies because they don't believe that there's only one path to get to your divine destination. There's not one correct way. They believe there's all different kind of paths and frameworks to get to the source, AKA God. And they're okay with that. So like a hierarchy doesn't sit well with them. Like first you got to do this, then you got to do that. That doesn't resonate with a mystic at all, because there is no first step, second step, third step. Sometimes I may tell you guys, oh, there's levels to this awareness. But that's not, I don't mean it in a hierarchical way, like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. I mean, there are levels in terms of how you perceive things in this reality, but not like you got to do step 1, step 2, step 3. Doesn't work like that at all. So
Hierarchies don't resonate well with mystics, okay? Let's talk about another characteristic of a mystic. So a mystic is guided by their own self-rules. Okay, let me tell you what this is. So we have an innate ability to navigate down here. We do. And so we create these rules kind of based off of not just our experiences, but off of things that we feel are in alignment with what we know, okay? So like when we are down here kind of navigating, we don't play by any rules. Like when I'm with each client that I'm working with, there is no set way to work with you guys because each of you are different. Each spirit guide that you guys have that comes through to talk to me is different. I have to navigate that path on an independent, individual basis. So some of you may have beings that are multidimensional, that are higher dimensional, that are coming through talking to me. So I got to navigate to get to that information. Some of you may have deceased loved ones coming through. So I got to navigate a different way to get to that information, you see? So I don't operate on a set of rules when I'm dealing with the spirituality and spiritual realm of individuals. And I recognize that energy and the people and the circumstances are different. A mystic lives by that, okay? All right, let's keep going. Number 7, another characteristic of a mystic. You value internal growth. Let's talk about this internal growth because we're all into personal growth. We want to move towards the universe, but we want to move towards it from within. We don't want to get it from the outside, like somebody dictate to us like how to get close to it. We want to move to it from inside of us. We want to feel the connection. We want to see the connection. We want to have evidence of the connection. So mystics feel a responsibility to help others find their way to the universe. However, they will never tell them if they're doing it the right or the wrong way. Because remember, a mystic knows there are various different paths. There is no right or wrong way to get this divine connection with the universe. And so if I ever tell you guys something like, oh, that was wrong, or oh, that was bad, I will immediately correct myself and say, oh, why did I say that? That wasn't wrong, or that wasn't bad. And then I'll put it in a way that is neutral, because see, that's my human part of me that kicks in and starts making things in a comparison, good, bad, this or that. That's the human part of you. A mystic recognizes there is no such thing as good or bad. There just is. It just is. You get it? All right, so next, number 8, a mystic believes that they are a conduit for power, not the source. Let's get into that. So when I do my little intro to you guys on here every Monday night, I say, hey, I'm Dr. Dawn. I'm an intuitive guidance spiritual messenger. I'm the go-between between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. Ain't that what I'm always saying? I'm the go-between, AKA the conduit. A mystic recognizes they are not the source. They are not God. They are not acting on God's behalf. They are the one in the middle, the conduit, the mechanism, the connection from the divine energy to this energy that is being spoken to at that time, the one that is receiving the information. So a mystic will always represent or recognize that they are a conduit and not the source. This is important, you guys. We're going to go through all 3 of these like we talked about in the beginning. For those of you who are just coming in, we are talking tonight about a little bit more in detail about these different categories that we put ourselves in as it relates to being spiritual. We're talking about being a mystic, being a spiritual person, and being a quantum person, how these all overlap, how they have similarities, how they have some things that are not so similar that make them distinctive in who they are, but nonetheless, how they're all working together, okay? So we're going through some of the characteristics of a mystic person, AKA Dr. Dawn, AKA why this is called Mystical Monday, because I am a mystic and I can only come from my experience as a mystic. And so I explained to the people, this is for the new people who just came on. I explained for them in my past lives, I've been a prophet, I've been an oracle, I've been a seer, I've been a psychic, I've been in every capacity that supports me being a mystic, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and connecting with the divine spiritual realm to be the conduit and the go-between for the information. And so we are now going through some of the characteristics of a mystic, which fit me 100%, and that you guys can now get a better understanding of who I am and why I am the way I am, and maybe see some of yourself in some of these characteristics. Okay, so let's keep going. We are on number 9. So the last one was mystics believe and understand that they're a conduit for power, not the source. We got that. Next, I want you guys to understand that mystics believe that love is the source of life. Okay, it is. Love powers everything. You got love, you can heal. You got love, you can manifest. You got love, you can live the life you desire. Love is the hidden power that transcends every earthly experience and everything that we are going through here on this planet. We understand as mystics that we are a small reflection of the larger source. We're but just a fractal, just a little piece of the divine source, right? All of us are. And so when we operate from that place of love initially, we got it down here on the planet. And mystics understand and believe that love is the source of life. Okay, let's keep going. Mystics understand that they don't know everything. How about that? Mystics acknowledge that the universe is infinite and it's mysterious and it's too complex for the human mind to fully comprehend. So look, they enjoy reaching out. They enjoy learning new things. They enjoy hearing different perspectives. You guys saw me. I have incorporated bringing guests onto my show because I know that I don't cover the whole universe. I can't cover the whole universe. That's not my experience. That's not my awareness. That's not my purpose. So mystics are open to bringing other people on, sharing their information, because they understand that we all are here to serve and do divine and different purposes. The mystic trusts in the universe to plan and to see the journey as understanding and not preaching. So look, I was on live last week and I was doing a spiritual reading, I think the week before, and I was giving my feedback on something. And somebody said, preach, Dawn, preach. And I said, oh, wait, let me stop. That ain't what I want to do. I don't want to preach, because preaching usually has the connotation of talking at you and not to you. So I changed it up really quick because I said, oh, wait a minute, that ain't it. A mystic will always do that. They will never, or they don't want to talk at you. Always talking to you from a place of understanding is what they do, because guess what? They don't want to judge you. They don't want to do that because they understand. They understand that although your journey is not like theirs, it is not. It is nonetheless your journey, okay? So look, after hearing all of this about a mystic, I bet more of you relate to being a mystic now, don't you? That word is not as scary as it was when you initially heard it, not just today, but in your lifetime. Because again, when we hear the word mystic, we usually hear the word occult synonymously with it. And that word occult will drive you crazy. It will make you really get into a fear-based place, because that's what we've designed it to do over the years and the lifetimes. We've designed it to make you feel like it's such a bad word that you dare not say it or dare not explore or delve into it. Because if you do, you may find something that you don't want to find. Ooh, isn't that how we were taught? Absolutely not. It only means that you believe in things that you cannot see, things that you don't have an explanation for, things that are not tied to a doctrine, things that are more free-flowing in your connection to the source, aka God. That's all it means. It took me a couple of decades to desensitize myself to that word, to ascend and move beyond that word, and to understand the programming that has been tied to that word generation after generation after generation in my family and in most of your families as well, right? Okay. Any questions on being a mystic so far before we move on to our next group? All right. Let's talk a little bit about the characteristics of a spiritual person. Isn't that great? Everybody thinks they're spiritual now, right? Everybody says they're spiritual. That word is used so loosely. And again, don't separate a mystic and a spiritual person, because you got to look at some of these words are umbrellas. They cover a lot of things underneath them. And so when we go through being a spiritual person, you're going to see it's kind of the umbrella over being a mystic, but you got to realize something. Mysticism is ancient. Oh, it goes way back. It's that old school kind of spirituality before spirituality was spirituality. And so I know this because in my past lives of being a mystic, spirituality wasn't like it is now. It wasn't even presented or defined like we're going to do it now. And so, but mysticism was, it's been there. And so when we talk about being spiritual now, outside of the context of a religious, let's say outside of Christianity, let's just say that, because I can only speak from my point of reference and experience, okay? Spirituality now, as I see it, is not as I saw it when I was under the Christian faith. And so spirituality now, let's talk about spiritual people. So if you are a spiritual person, you usually don't really care about what religion a person is. You don't care about that because you realize that people follow religions for different reasons. It's part of their path, right? No religion is better than the other. You respect their choices. You just want everybody to get along, right? If you're spiritual, that's usually one of the characteristics you have. Okay. Next, another characteristic of if you're spiritual, you're usually, we all are work in progress on this one. You're usually not judgmental. You're really mindful and you try to understand where the person is coming from. You actually know that people are doing the best they can despite the situation. You understand from your spiritual perspective that everybody's journey is set up with different set of instances and circumstances to get them to their soul to accomplish, a certain goal as it relates to while it's here. So everybody's going through something differently and doing it the best that they can. You understand that if you're a spiritual person. We sometimes forget that. Like I said, being not judgmental is the hardest thing because that is a conditioned characteristic that is ingrained in us, is to judge someone that is not like us. Oh, we're getting there, but that's going to be a really difficult one to wipe out altogether. I think we'll still always have traces of it, but we will be in the self-correction phase. We will correct ourselves after it happens, I think. So we're working on that, but we're moving towards it, okay? All right, next, a spiritual person will usually live by this creed. To each his own. That will be a phrase that a spiritual person will say through and through because they understand that people handle their circumstances and their responsibilities in daily life differently. To each his own. Everybody does things differently according to where they are and what resonates with them. And so a spiritual person will usually just say to each his own. You don't have to try to rationalize or make excuses for or try to justify what somebody does. You'll just simply say to each his own, okay? All right, let's keep going. Next, a spiritual person is more concerned about becoming more authentic, spiritually authentic in their journey. Okay, so let's talk about what we mean by being more authentic. Okay, so when you become awakened, and you get turned on to this new way of being, this new world that exists, you are trying to be the best version of yourself, right? You're trying to be the best version of yourself. You're trying to always be in a high frequency. You try to convince others to be in this newfound light. You start like latching on to making yourself the spokesperson for spirituality and getting people more in awareness. You do all of that, and then all of that becomes exhausting. You can't keep it up. You can't always be happy. You can't always be staying in a positive light. You can't always be the poster child for spirituality, trying to recruit. You can't always try to like put yourself in situations to be of service, and you keep getting used. You get tired. So then guess what? You say, wait a minute, there's got to be more to this spiritual thing than this. And you start to get more authentic. See, that stuff I just told you about, that's that superficial spiritual stuff. You know, that you're always supposed to be walking on a high frequency. You're always supposed to be smiling. You're always supposed to be healing. That ain't real. That's not real. And so a spiritual person, once they get past that, will start to or want to latch on to the authenticity of being spiritual, meaning the understanding that I don't know all the answers, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not here to be nobody's God. I got to just live my life the best way I can and be as best I can a mirror for others to follow. I will be of service when or if I can. You start getting into the authenticity of your spiritual journey. You get out of that like smoke screen camouflage stuff that you think you're supposed to be based on what people say or what you hear, or what you see. A spiritual person is going to dig down deep and get more authentic with it, because their journey is leading them to being authentically them. Okay. All right, let's keep going. A spiritual person usually knows that there are many truths in the world. Many truths. They know that no one person can answer all the questions of the world. You can't. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you study. I don't care how many downloads you get. I don't care. None of us, nobody here knows all the answers to the universe. You don't know it. You're not going to know it. That's not part of it. You have a subjectivity as a spiritual person that is based on your experiences in the world. A spiritual person will start to base their understanding, awareness, their individual doctrine that they create based off their experiences. They will move away from that outside teaching stuff, that stuff that they read or that they encounter that gives them an awareness, but don't always resonate with them. They will start making it their own. They will start creating a spirituality that is in alignment with them. Okay, a spiritual person. This is what you'll do as you start to move on. Okay, and look, let's not forget this. A spiritual person will always try to be kind and charitable and be of service, because that's just what it's all about. You know, as a spiritual being, you came to be of service to the planet, but you will also know your boundaries. You will know what that being of service consists of as it relates to your journey and your contribution and what you came to do. Okay. So a spiritual person, now some of these things that I'm saying about a spiritual person is kind of synonymous with a mystical person in a lot of ways, right? We hear some commonalities, not being judgmental. I didn't bring this up about a spiritual person, but you're very tapped into your intuition. You start listening to your inner guidance system a little more, or you become aware at least that it exists. Let's say that. You become aware that it exists. Because let me tell you something. Being a mystic like myself, I have come across a lot of spiritual people in my practice and in my daily life. It amazes me how many of these people are not in tune to their intuition. So I can't say that being spiritual is synonymous with being intuitive, because not always, not necessarily. You may have the awareness of the higher presence. You may have the awareness that there are different journeys. You may have the awareness that you are a being outside of this human body that has a spiritual body, and that there's a spirit you. You may be aware of that, but your intuition, you may not be tapped into. I can't tell you how many people who are spiritual and they still don't connect with their inner self. Okay. So that's one of the big things that to me, in my experience, that differentiates a mystic from a spiritual person. A mystic is 100% intuitive. They don't need nothing else but their intuition. They don't need no stars, the moon, the sun, they just need their intuition. That's all they need. And whereas a spiritual person kind of relies on some different avenues to assist in their, not just awareness, but their tapping into their being, okay? I hope that makes sense, if that makes sense to you guys. Questions so far before we move to our next group. Now, we talked about mystics. We talked about spiritual people. We're only doing this separate because we want you guys to get some clarity on what each thing is. But unequivocally, all of this is going to tie in together, all of it, okay? All right, so let's get to, if there are no questions about the spiritual, being spiritual. Jasani says, I'm such a mystic through and through. Okay, Ascension 2023 is in the house. Wonderful. Hello, Patricia. Hi, Taraja. Okay, and everybody's here. Okay, no questions. Let's keep going. Let's talk about some of these quantum people or real quantum. Oh, you dedicated to your mysticism. Wonderful. Let's talk about being quantum. Now, I told you guys in the beginning when we kind of talked about being quantum, and it originated from quantum physics. We know it associated with science and atoms and neutrons and protons, like all that kind of stuff that just didn't resonate with me in high school. But now we've moved to quantum healing and things like that, and quantum theorists, and just a whole different like kind of perspective to add to that foundational information that we know, like being a quantum physicist. So it's funny that the Ascension 2023 chat is on here, because Michael Hutchinson, who leads that chat group, his thing is, I discuss the mechanics of Ascension, and absolutely, positively, unequivocally, he does discuss the mechanics. And so when we talk about the mechanics of Ascension, it's a term called quantum mechanics. That's exactly what it is. And it deals with like, not just describing the atoms, the photons, the molecular things. It is frequency, it's energy, it's the universe, how it's made up. It's, ideas, it's concepts, it's all of this that make the universe itself. Let me tell you something. Somebody told me, I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget it. They gave me this analogy when you describe a quantum theorist or healer, okay? It says, if they were going to get a pair of shoes, they wouldn't just pick out a pair of shoes that are an exact match for your feet. They wouldn't do that. Instead, they would choose between pairs that come in predetermined sizes. So let me give you some context on that. They're looking at different possibilities. They're looking at different possibilities that relate to the whole of what they are discussing, okay? You know how I said a mystic. Now let's get to a mystic versus this quantum healer, because I'm going to show you the disparity, the difference between the two. Remember I told you a mystic doesn't rely on any of that. They don't care about if 1 + 1 is 2. They don't care about if the universe has 50 dimensions. They don't care about that. A mystic is concerned with how their intuitive awareness is tapped into the universe as a whole, and how they can navigate and connect with that whole to assist others and assist themselves. A quantum healer or theorist is going to get more intricately into that, beyond the intuition. To them, intuition is subjective. They need more quantitative information to support findings, okay? And so when we deal with quantum, the big thing now, we're doing frequency, we're doing vibration, like we're doing that, right? Listening to our hertz and our quartz to change and manipulate our energies. This is quantum stuff. We are dealing with our chakras and clearing our energetic properties of our chakras and our energy, and how certain things affect our chakras. Okay, your chakra system is quantum, okay? Because it is the part of you, the energetic part of you that connects and speaks to the universe. And so a lot of times quantum people, or people who are more quantum, we say, believe and understand that you can heal yourself from within, but with energetic assistance, okay? They explain the universe on a larger scale structure. It's quantum physics is old, but like quantum healing, well, it's not old, but quantum healing is more of the newer kind of thing as it relates to this whole spiritual component. It's an evolving field of research, if you will. And so they are always looking at how your well-being can be influenced by the smallest level of physics. They're going to give you specifics. Like I can always tell when you guys, I've had quantum people on my show because that's not my zhuzh. So I had Lauren on here. Lauren, she was a quantum healer. We had Michael Hutchinson, who talks about ascension and the quantum components of that. We had, my person last week, Natalie Daydeen. She is a light code activator, which is a little outside of quantum, but it still deals with that connection outside of this realm. And so we've had a lot of quantum kind of, and we had Cash on here, King Cash, where he talked about, his connection to the quantum realm and the Galactic Federation and all of that kind of stuff. You get quantum, you get specific a lot of times. You get into the mechanics. That's why they call it quantum mechanics. I'm going to tell you guys something. Although I'm explaining these in 3 different modalities, mysticism, spirituality, quantum, they're all connected. They're all connected. So it makes me chuckle when I talk to a quantum person, a person who's into quantum stuff, because I've done this often, and they'll go, "Oh, I'm not really into that." They'll say, "I'm not into light language because, that doesn't resonate with me." Okay, then I'll talk to a mystic person who will say, "Oh, I can't really get into quantum mechanics. That's just a whole bunch of junk." Like, it's because it's where you are in your experience. If your experience has not been predominantly or primarily in these areas, it's not going to resonate and you're not going to get it. But all of these areas connect. I have quantum people who are not spiritual. Can you believe that? They're solely into how the universe works. Scientifically, they're into the scientificness of it, the history, the science. But when you talk about the spiritual part, they go, where's the quantitative data to support that? And how do you know your intuition is factual? How many, like, they question that. So it's up to the person themselves how much you take from each area. I myself, I'm 99% mystic. I'm about, no, let me take that back. I'm 90% mystic, 90% mystic. I'm going to say I'm about 8% spiritual, and I'm about 2% quantum, y'all. Quantum is there for me, but it's not there for me, if that makes sense for you. That's why you wouldn't come to Dr. Dawn for Reiki healing. I don't do that. You wouldn't come for me to any type of energy movement and healing, because that's quantum. That's not my zhuzh. My zhuzh is being a mystic and tapping into the spiritual realm to be a conduit for the spiritual realm and the physical realm. That's who I am. So everybody has their niches. You see, a quantum person may not be mystic. They may not tap into no spiritual realm and be getting messages and doing all that, but they can tell you what energy movements and how to move energy from here to there, because that's what they do. You see? Taraja says, can you recommend sources of hertz sounds? Always wonder how to know if really listening to 100. Okay. So Taraja, I hope you follow me on Instagram, because I am always posting in my stories different frequencies for different things that you're trying to clear. It's very simple now in this world that we live in. All you have to do is go to YouTube. Whatever you're trying to clear, ask for the frequency of that. For example, if you want to clear childhood traumas, you type in on YouTube, frequency to clear childhood traumas. It's going to pop up. If you want to manifest abundance, frequency to manifest abundance on YouTube. It's going to pop up. All you got to do is put it in there and you have the frequencies at your fingertips. You have them at your fingertips. It's not hard now. We don't have to figure it out. It's right there for you. Excellent question. Excellent question. All right. Y'all getting a better feel of this? Because it escapes me how I talk, but I know everybody's on different levels of awareness, experience. I could talk to somebody about aliens and portals and connecting to portals, but if they're not in that frame of awareness of being, they don't get it, but they're spiritual. You see how there are so many people now that are putting themselves in different categories of spiritual. There are spiritual people that are all for the chakras, like higher frequencies, energy, but then you say something about an alien and a portal being in your home and, beings that are coming in and out, they go, what? I don't believe in all that. That's something totally separate for them. That's totally separate from their understanding and awareness. It's not wrong. It's not right or wrong. It's just totally separate. So I feel lucky in where I am now in my journey and my incarnation cycle that I can connect all of it. I can see how all of it is relevant, but some people don't do that. They will stick to one thing and they won't touch anything else outside of that at all whatsoever because it's their comfort level. What did I tell you about a mystic? A mystic knows their limitations. They know they don't know everything. And they know that everybody has a role and there are different roles to play. So they will pull people in. You ain't finna see a lot of quantum people doing that. No, sirree, no. Because guess what? Everything is exact. Why I need somebody else to come in and talk about this? And I know this. It's not much, variance between it. It is what it is, what it is. You can't change it. So what you need somebody talking? Be mindful. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. But that is their experience and what they bring here. They bring that assertiveness, that confidence, that science to this earthly realm, because you got to have both. You got to have the science, you got to have the intuition, you got to have the spirit connection to your higher self and spirit, like you got to have it all. But we got to be mindfully open and aware as a group here on the planet that we're all coexisting here for the same purpose. And that's where it gets sticky, because everybody don't believe we all here for the same purpose. I just had a conversation with someone 2 days ago. And I was talking about how I was sitting in somewhat of a meditation, and spirit explained to me that I was moved here, moved to Arizona because there's a portal here in Arizona, and that my energy and my light was needed to keep this portal afloat. So a lot of beings will be kind of shifted to Arizona, to this area. Well, there are all different portals all over the planet, first of all over the planet. And so people are shifting to bring their light to the portals. So I was having this conversation with a spiritual person, went way over there, way up here. They were like, portals? What you talking about, portals? And you talking about your chakras, opening your chakras? And I was like, okay, no, I'm not. I'm talking about something else. But it was totally different. So you don't know, when you say you're spiritual and you're talking to a spiritual person, you don't know where their experience is or where their belief or comfort is. So it gets a little tricky navigating the spiritual world, because it's not like when you practice a certain religion. A religion is a doctrine. You know what the rules say, what the words say, and you know what everybody's following. That's one thing. But when you get into spirituality, you don't know where everyone is. And it's supposed to be that way, because you're in the awareness that we're all here from different places and beings and different purposes and roles. But you got to respect and understand that on your spiritual journey, on your journey of evolution. Okay. Your journey of evolution. Okay. Questions. We talked about being mystical, being spiritual, being quantum. Give me some questions, you guys, because I know you got some. This is a lot. Some of you Some of you may not have even made the connection between all three of these modalities and how it relates to you as a being on their journey of awakening and evolution. If anything, can you guys now maybe have a feeling of what resonates more with you? I mean, like I said, I resonate with all of it. All of it resonates with me to a point. I know where I'm more heavily influenced in, because I know my journey and I know what my experiences have caused me to be more familiar and comfortable with as it relates to being a mystic. But what about you guys? Based on some of these things that I've shared with you, some of you may not have tapped into your past lives, but you may have a feeling of which feels more comfortable for you, being a mystic, a spiritual person, a quantum person. Let's just, for the sake of this discussion, let's divide it into three, even though you're probably comfortable with all of them in some respect, but which one resonates more with you? Because it'll tell you a little bit about your soul's path and where your soul has been, based on which one is more comfortable and familiar to you. Jasani says, you made so much so clear on levels I can't even explain. Well, you know what? You said in the beginning, you said, I resonate with being a mystic. I'm going to be very open with you, Jasani, because I know you, because I've worked with you. You probably are a mystic, because a mystic is outside of the realm of what is normal in the society. They don't do anything the way it's supposed to be, the way the book or the people say they should do it. And I know you well enough to know you're outside of the norms. So I would say a mystic probably does resonate with you 100%, in that you don't look for structure. You look for what feels good and feels right. He says, I intuitively know this and couldn't put it into words. So thank you so much. Absolutely. You know, you find on this journey, sometimes you are moving at a pace and you're getting so much information, and you are, like, I'm going to say, moving and moving and moving quickly on your journey, that sometimes the simpleness of concepts like being a mystic, being spiritual, being quantum will sometimes get by you. It'll get all mixed up in the jargon that you are seeing as it relates to social media, what you're reading, what you are learning. You kind of put it all in the same kind of zhuzh, or same kind of category, which it can be, but there are specific things about each one that stand out in terms of not just characteristics, but energetic things that stand out with them. Taraja says she's more spiritual and am amazed by the mystical and quantum worlds. Absolutely. And so be ready to explore those worlds, because your amazement is going to turn into your next steps of evolution. Trust me when I say I have maneuvered through all of these areas. Like it or not, because it's part of the awareness that I need to move me into that spiritual essence of being that will take me to the next dimension. So there's no way you're gonna ascend to the next dimension and you don't have some awareness of this stuff. Like, just some, you may not know it exactly, but you have some connection to it, because it all ties in to you evolving, most definitely. I always, oneness says, I'm feeling a bit of all of them. Absolutely. That's me too. Me too. I just say, I know I resonate with being mystical and spiritual way more than quantum, because I don't care about a formula. I don't care about what statistics say. I don't care about factual stuff. I care about what's going on right now, what I feel, and how I can connect to get the information that is needed in this moment. So I know that the quantum part has not been a big part of my journey per se. Helena says, how do we use our powers to help others? Well, first of all, you have to see if those people need assistance. That's one of the things I talked about with being a spiritual person. You always feel like you got to run out and help. You got to go seek it before it comes to you. When you are assigned, let's do that. When you are assigned and led to assist someone, you're always guided on how to assist them. You don't have to think of how to do it. You don't have to know what powers you use. You will be given the guidance on how to assist that person in need. Get out of your human head of, okay, this is what you do when you want to help somebody. You got to do this first. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody's needs are different. You'll be approaching everyone different. So it's important that you tap in to your awareness of if you're being guided to assist somebody. That's big, because a lot of times you ain't being guided, but because you're spiritual, you want to jump in there and you want to do it. Discern that first if you're being called to help someone, because if you are, you're inevitably given the guidance to assist them. Absolutely. For sure. Does that make sense, Helena? I hope so. Because now we're getting into I always look at that as the human part when we say, how do we do something? Because a human always wants to know, how do we do this? How do we? That's the human part of you. Helena, there's no way I could have known to do what I'm doing now if I wasn't guided to it. I wanted to be of service. I wanted to assist the collective. I was guided to get on social media and to do what I'm doing now. You're always getting guided. Don't put all of that stress and strain on yourself of trying to figure it out, because you don't have to. You don't have to figure out how to assist people. That's what we've been doing in the past, and we've been messing it up because we've been putting our own human spin on it. Good question, though. Anybody else? Any more questions? You guys are doing so good. I love this, love this, love this. I actually could have another category. I said mystic, spiritual, quantum. I could have put that light language in there too. That's very new. That's on the horizon. It is very, in some realms, controversial. People don't talk about it. People don't do it. I myself am going to say, I can't say either yay or nay about it, but I will expose you to it because it's part of it. It's part of the evolution. I have been around like Natalie last week. I think she's awesome. I think you can feel the energy from light code activation. Now, the long-term goals of it, where we're going and how it's gonna, assist us, that's, I don't know, but it's here. Okay, Helena says yes, she got it. Perfect, 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 perfect. Any more questions? Any more questions? The important thing, you guys, is to know what is not your zhuzh. Know what you are not strong in. Understand what your experience may not have entailed and seek it out somewhere else. Get it from somebody else. I have done quite a few different things with Hutch from the Ascension 2023 program, both on his chat and on mine, just because I'm not the quantum mechanics person. Don't try to be, but he is. And I know that that's his thing and he can do it and do it well. And so I like surrender, or I yield to him in a lot of situations as it relates to that. But y'all don't be coming to me with nothing they got to do with intuition and tapping into spiritual gifts. Y'all know that's my thing. That's my thing. That's what Dr. Dawn does all day long, all day long. Okay. Hutch says he was guided to me. Absolutely. We both, I guess that's great. No stress, guidance from our spiritual guides. That's it. Y'all, I just posted on my Instagram today. I said, have you spoken to your spirit guides today? Have you connected with them? Y'all better start doing that every day. Literally, I get up every day and say, okay, what's the assignment for today? What am I doing? Like, what are we doing? What are we not doing? And so somebody asked me to be on a podcast last week. My spirit guide said, no. not in alignment. So I had to respectfully decline. But I'm always asking my guys, look, let me know. Should I, should not? What are we doing here? Do I go? Do I not go? When I do go, what am I doing? What am I saying? Like, y'all, that's what they're there for. That's what they're there for. Taraja, you said your $5 gift was refunded to me right away. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, Taraja. What does $5 gift mean? Oh, did you try to do it in the chat? What I said earlier? I think that's what you're talking about. Let me see. I think that's what she meant. So I told people earlier that now on YouTube, I'm able to monetize. Woohoo! That means I think I can get little stickers when I go live. Like you guys can get stickers or however that works. I don't even know how it works. But I just said if somebody did it tonight, I don't care if it was 50 cents. I just wanted to see how you do it and how it works because I've never tried it. Oh, she tried to send me a chat gift. Okay, Taraja, I'm so sorry. They just notified me that I didn't complete the setup process. I'm sorry, my fault. I got to complete that. I thought I completed it. Oops. So I'll do that. I'll do that tonight. Thank you though for trying to send it. Thank you so much. Okay, Hush says thank you for the kind words. Lucy says I try to talk to my guys daily. They be tired of me. They don't get tired of you, honey. If anything, they're gonna start to play with you and they're gonna try to loosen up, you know, the stress and the intensity around communicating with them. They want you to be free and be open to connecting with them. Trust me, they're available all the time, 24/7, 24/7. I love it. You guys have been great. Any more questions? So, in summary, as it relates to spirituality as a whole, you will hear the terms mystic. You may not hear mystic as much, not that much. That is kind of an old school term. That's why I know my soul is old, y'all. I'm bringing y'all stuff from back in the day, from lifetimes ago. You may not hear mystic so much now as you do spiritual, quantum, you know, you hear those more. But I wanted to give you mystical as a point of reference because it's kind of like foundational a little bit to like believe in something that in truths that are beyond the intellect. That's what a mystic is. And that's kind of what the foundation of all this spiritual stuff, believing in truths that are beyond what we can humanly understand, right? In a realm that we cannot see. So I feel like it's the foundation for everything. So if you are on your spiritual journey, which most of you are, you wouldn't be here, you don't have to get caught up in these terms. I just wanted to tell you the meanings of these as a point of reference, because a lot of you are exploring your soul's journey. And a lot of you have in past lives, you've been mystics like me, or you've had spiritual connections. You may have been clergy in the church or prophets, or, you know, you could have been anything, you know, in past lives. A lot of you have quantum ties in other lifetimes. You are beings from higher dimensional planes that are like doing some scientific advancements and assistance here on the planet now that are more quantum related. Like some of y'all relate to some of this because this is part of who you are, your soul, and it's okay. But just know this, add this to your repertoire, if you will, of information that assists you on your evolution. Okay, it has been wonderful chit-chatting with you guys tonight. Thank you all for joining me for Mystical Monday Live. I love it, love it, love it. I will see you guys here next week, next Monday, 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, for those of you who are still in need of spiritual coaching, that code for spiritual coaching is good until July 31st. The code is spiritual in all caps, and then 2023. That's SPIRITUAL 2023. No spaces in between. All caps is good until this. I think the 31st is Friday. No, it's not. It's like next Monday or something, I think, but it's good until the end of the month. So make sure you use that if you need spiritual coaching. If this video resonated with you or it was information that was helpful, please like the video, you guys. Like. And for those of you watching the replay, leave me some comments, some questions. I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think about the information and if you can share some additional feedback. I love to hear it. I usually get my topics from you guys if I'm not divinely guided. Usually, though, I'm divinely guided. But it's good to hear from you guys, too, because that'll help, too, kind of confirm some of the guidance that I'm getting sometimes, okay? All right, you guys, it's been great. I will be on Instagram Live this Thursday doing spiritual readings, I think. You got to follow me over at Discovering Your Inner Light on Instagram, and then you'll be in the know. And I think I may be on on TikTok Tuesday night. I don't know, but get over there and follow me too at Discovering Your Inner Light. So just follow me on all platforms that I'm on, you guys. Go into the About section over here on this YouTube page and get all my social media handles and get over there and follow me. And you guys have been great. Thank you so much again for joining me. I will see you guys next time, and love and light.